It's just a little office thing, my sister snickered on the family chat. No need to cancel my birthday dinner for her pretend stage. Mom replied with a heart emoji. Priorities, sweetheart. Then my aunt, tell her to take pictures and post later. We'll like them. HY everyone, my name is Marin Elwood, I'm 31. The lights at City Hall hum like bees in a glass jar, and I can taste the copper of nerves at the back of my tongue. If you've ever worked 10 years for one moment and then watched your own family vote against it, you know that particular ache, the kind that sits between your ribs and refuses to move. I smooth the lapel of my navy blazer. The fabric is new but already creasing at the elbow where I fidget. The auditorium smells like polished wood and warm microphones. Colleagues wave, their spouses cluster in soft bouquets of perfume and cufflinks. 3 seats in the front row, mine, are empty. My name is on them in thin gold letters, Marin Elwood, honoree. Beside it, 2 placards, reserved, family. The little white tents look like unclaimed houses in a careful neighborhood. A stagehand presses a program into my palm. Congratulations, she whispers. Thank you, I say, and my voice is steady in the way a tightrope is steady, only because I don't look down. Backstage, the curtain edge brushes my shoulder like a slow tide. I picture the table at my sister's party, sparklers in a cake, my kids in paper hats because birthdays are fun, my husband's laugh filling whatever space I used to take. Somewhere between anger and awe, a thought lands, if love is a room, they keep locking me out of it. The MC announces my division. Applause swells, river strong. I step into the wash of light. For a second, I see everything, not the faces, but reflections, the gloss on the grand piano, the shine on the podium, my life trimmed sharp as a suit. My phone vibrates inside my blazer pocket, one short buzz, then a relentless staccato. I shouldn't check, not here, not now. But the vibration becomes a drumline against my ribs. I slide the screen up beneath the podium lip, hidden from the crowd. A text from my husband blooms open, we need to talk. Urgently. Above it, a number that knocks the breath from my lungs. Husband's 45 missed calls. The ceremony ended in a storm of applause, but I couldn't hear any of it. My mind kept replaying that screen, 45 missed calls, all from the man who didn't even show up. I stepped off the stage to a blur of shaking hands and congratulations. Cameras flashed, colleagues hugged, the dean said something about exemplary leadership, and all I could think was, why call 45 times when silence had already done the damage? Outside, rain slicked the marble steps. My heels clicked through puddles as I dialed him back. No answer. Then again. Nothing. I finally texted. I'm on my way home. Whatever it is, we'll talk there. The car smelled faintly of perfume, not mine. I noticed it the second I turned the key. It wasn't strong, just a ghost of something floral and wrong. My hands trembled as I drove, headlights cutting through the downpour like questions without answers. When I pulled into the driveway, my sister's party lights were still visible across town on social media. Live streams of laughter, candles, my kids blowing bubbles behind her cake. My husband's arm around her boyfriend's shoulder. My entire world, celebrating someone else. The porch light flicked on automatically as I stepped up. Inside, the living room looked rearranged. A half-packed suitcase stood by the couch. His jacket was missing from the rack. My son's soccer cleats gone. The house felt hollow, like it had already decided to forget me. Then his text came through. Don't come home angry. Let's just talk first. I stared at it until the words blurred. Angry? I wasn't even there yet. Upstairs, the bedroom door was slightly open. My reflection in the hallway mirror looked like a stranger, mascara streaked, smile cracked in half. I pushed the door slowly. The bedspread was folded, the nightstand cleared, the framed photo of our wedding replaced by a yellow sticky note. I picked it up with shaking fingers. 4 words, written in his quick, careless hand. You'll understand soon enough. A thunderclap cracked outside, sudden, violent, and the house fell silent, waiting for what came next. The sticky note trembled in my hand. The ink was smudged, like he'd written it fast, or angry. I sat on the edge of the bed, the silence loud enough to make my heartbeat sound like footsteps. The house felt colder than the rain outside. My phone buzzed again, this time from Lydia, my neighbor and friend from down the block. Marin, I don't know if I should tell you this, but I saw your husband leaving an hour ago. He wasn't alone. I typed back. Who was with him? No reply. Just those 3 gray dots that blinked, then vanished. I looked at the sticky note again. You'll understand soon enough. Understand what? That he missed my ceremony? That he left me to celebrate my sister like she was the only woman in the family worth clapping for? My phone rang. This time, it wasn't him, it was my boss. Marin, the governor wants to meet you tomorrow morning. Your speech went viral on the civic stream. You were phenomenal. I forced a laugh. Thank you. The moment I hung up, I wanted to cry. Success meant nothing when home had just evaporated. I finally opened Lydia's message. Marin, it looked like your sister's car. My throat closed. I reread the words a dozen times, hoping they'd rearrange themselves into something else. It looked like your sister's car. I walked to the kitchen, every step heavier than the last. The fridge still had their dinner leftovers, the pasta I'd made that morning. 2 plates gone. The third untouched, covered in cling wrap like a time capsule. The rain intensified, tapping the glass like someone knocking softly. I turned off the kitchen light, phone still in my hand, and scrolled through my sister's social feed. She had posted 15 minutes ago. Best birthday ever with my favorite people red heart #party popper. In the video, my husband's reflection appeared in the glass door behind her, head down, smiling. I didn't blink. Didn't breathe. Didn't scream. I just whispered to the empty room, you really did make it to her party. Outside, the rain stopped, but something inside me had only just begun to fall. I don't remember locking the door behind me, but I remember the sound, the metallic click that felt like an oath. The kind you take when there's no one left to believe in you. My heels echoed across the wooden floor as I paced. The phone screen glowed with the paused video from my sister's feed, frozen on their laughing faces. My husband's hand resting casually on the back of her chair, his wedding ring glinting like a dare. For 10 years, I'd stood beside that man, through layoffs, debts, every late-night emergency that tore holes in our savings and sleep. I'd ironed his shirts before interviews, driven him to hospital shifts, edited his resume. But tonight, the promotion was mine, and the silence was his answer. A car pulled up outside. Headlights swept across the living room wall. My heart lunged before my body did. I wiped my face, straightened my blazer, and opened the door. It was him. Rain still beaded in his hair, his tie loose, eyes bloodshot. Behind him, the car idled, and in the passenger seat, I could see a pale blur of someone's hand. A woman's. Marin, he started, breathless, you weren't supposed to see that. That. I repeated, the word sharp as glass. You mean her birthday? Or the part where my husband looked perfectly happy on camera? He stepped closer. You're blowing this out of proportion. I laughed. One short, broken sound. 45 missed calls say otherwise. He sighed, rubbing his forehead. It's not what you think. Then tell me what I think, I whispered. He didn't answer. Instead, he looked past me, into the house, at the suitcase by the couch. I need space, he said finally. The kids are with your sister for the night. We'll talk tomorrow. Please, don't make this worse. He turned toward the car, and the silhouette inside shifted. My stomach dropped. Because even through the tinted window, I could recognize the faint shimmer of my sister's silver dress. He got in. She turned. Their eyes met mine for half a second before the car rolled away into the wet night. And in that half second, something inside me stopped being his. I didn't cry that night. Not once. I just stood at the window, watching the rain stitch silver threads across the street where their car disappeared. It was strange, how betrayal doesn't sound like shouting or breaking glass. It's quieter than that. Like breath leaving a body. At 3:12 a.m., my phone buzzed again, a single message from my sister. You'll understand eventually. Don't hate me. The same phrase. You'll understand soon enough. I stared at it until dawn painted the blinds pale gray. Then I understood something. They weren't sorry. They were preparing me. By morning, the storm had cleared, but my thoughts hadn't. I packed a small bag, nothing dramatic, just essentials, and left before the neighborhood woke up. I drove without direction, ending up by the harbor, where the water was flat and indifferent. Gulls cried overhead like warnings no one listens to. I sat in my car and opened the Notes app, typing every detail I could remember. The timeline, the words, the lies. Maybe it was instinct, or self-defense, but documenting the truth felt like oxygen. At 8:04 a.m., my assistant called. "Marin, congratulations again. The press wants a short statement about last night's ceremony. They're calling you the face of civic resilience." I almost laughed. Resilience. If only they knew. By noon, I was back at City Hall. Cameras. Interviews. Applause again. But this time, it all sounded like static. I smiled when I had to. I signed the documents. I shook hands. Then, right before leaving, a junior reporter pulled me aside. "Ms. Elwood, is it true your sister's married to your husband's business partner? There's talk of a merger announcement." My pulse skipped. "Excuse me." She showed me her tablet. There it was, a photo from last night's event, captioned, "Real estate magnate David Elwood celebrates partnership with the Elwood Family Trust." The Elwood Family Trust. A name I'd never heard, but one that carried my last name. And that was the moment I realized, this wasn't just betrayal of love. It was the opening act of something much colder, a business play. That evening, the world kept applauding while my foundation cracked quietly underneath. Every congratulatory handshake felt like a curtain pulled over a crime scene. By the time I reached my office, my fingers were trembling too hard to even turn the key. Inside, my desk light flickered, one weak bulb fighting the dusk. I opened my laptop and searched the corporate registry. The Elwood Family Trust came up instantly. Registered 3 months ago. Trustees, David Elwood and Samantha Elwood. My husband and my sister. The description said, joint property, investments, and real estate assets to be consolidated under family name. My name was nowhere in sight. A noise escaped me, half laugh, half disbelief. I scrolled further. The first asset transfer was dated the day after our anniversary. The house. My house. The deed had been refiled, listed under the trust. They'd stolen it while I was still sleeping in it. The office clock ticked in slow motion. I clicked every attached document, eyes burning. One by one, I saw what they'd done, our savings, my equity shares from work bonuses, siphoned through accounts under his management. He'd been moving everything quietly, preparing for this moment. My husband hadn't just betrayed me emotionally. He'd erased me financially. I closed the laptop and pressed my palms against my eyes until stars flared behind them. Somewhere inside, the part of me that once believed in family just collapsed. When I finally looked up, my reflection in the office window didn't look broken. It looked deliberate. Calm. Calculating. I took a breath, wiped the tear I hadn't realized had fallen, and whispered, if they want to build an empire on my silence, they're about to learn how loud I can be. I opened a new folder on my desktop and titled it, Project Reversal. Inside, I started gathering everything, receipts, screenshots, statements, every single email where he'd called me the public face of our family. He wanted me to be the face. Fine. I'd make sure the whole world saw it, when his empire burned down under the spotlight he'd built for me. The next 48 hours blurred into quiet warfare. I didn't scream, didn't confront, didn't beg. I just worked, methodically, invisibly. Revenge doesn't start with fury, it starts with focus. I filed a confidential report with the city's fraud division, attaching every transfer he'd hidden behind family trust. Then I met with a lawyer, not one from his firm, but mine, an older woman who'd seen too many wives left penniless. She read through the documents with slow, measured calm. When she finally looked up, her eyes softened. Marin, this isn't just betrayal. It's embezzlement. You've got leverage, and power. That word, power, felt foreign, almost dangerous on my tongue. We filed a formal injunction, freezing every joint account, every property title. Legally, nothing could move until an investigation cleared. For the first time in years, I didn't feel like the one being left behind. That night, my husband called. What did you do? His voice cracked through the speaker like static. What I had to, I said evenly. You ruined us. No, I corrected. You did that when you made a trust that didn't include the one person who trusted you. He exhaled hard, a mix of panic and disbelief. You'll regret this, Marin. I smiled faintly into the silence. Maybe. But you'll remember it longer. By morning, news outlets were calling. My speech from the ceremony had gone national, the rise of integrity in leadership. The irony was cruel, almost cinematic. Reporters wanted follow-ups, and this time, I accepted every invitation. When they asked about family values, I spoke carefully, my words sharp enough to cut glass. Integrity isn't about loyalty to those who betray it. It's about protecting truth, even when it costs you comfort. The clip went viral. My husband's company shares dropped the next day. My sister's smiling face disappeared from social media. And for the first time since that empty ceremony night, I felt something return, not joy, not even peace, but the quiet steadiness of someone reclaiming their own name. Because Marin Elwood was no longer their story to write. 2 weeks later, the courtroom smelled faintly of paper and polished wood, the scent of endings. My husband sat 3 rows ahead, jaw tight, hands clenched. My sister avoided my eyes completely. The same woman who once braided my hair now twisted her bracelet until it almost snapped. The judge's voice was calm, almost detached. Given the fraudulent reallocation of marital assets, the trust hereby stands dissolved. All properties and holdings revert to Ms. Marin Elwood. It was over. Just like that, with a gavel and a silence so sharp I could hear my heartbeat echo. Afterward, reporters gathered outside the courthouse. Cameras flashed, questions collided in the air. How does it feel to win? I smiled, but not the kind people post online. The kind that carries weight. It's not about winning, I said quietly. It's about remembering who you were before they made you doubt yourself. By evening, the house was mine again. Empty, but honest. The suitcase still sat by the couch, his. I left it there. Some memories don't deserve to be unpacked. My kids came home the next morning. They were hesitant, unsure which parent was the villain in this version of the story. I didn't rush to explain. I just sat with them, made pancakes, and let the house smell like something good again. My daughter looked up mid-bite and said, "Mom, are we okay now?" I smiled softly. We're getting there. Weeks passed. My promotion turned into a permanent post. My speech was still being quoted in leadership seminars across the state. People called it inspiring. They didn't know the price of that inspiration. Sometimes, I drive by my sister's old apartment, the one she can't afford anymore, and I park for a moment, just long enough to see the empty balcony. Then I drive on, not out of revenge, but closure. Because I learned something no ceremony could teach. Silence can destroy, but it can also rebuild. And when you rise quietly, no one sees it coming. As I closed my office blinds one last time that night, I whispered to the dark, a promise, not a threat. I'm finally free.